Hi, I'm Alain Caron, and you're on Bass Musician Magazine.
What is your creative process for Alain Caron? When you're going to go sit there and you want to go creative, like, tell us, how does this work?
It's very complex. You can write music many different ways. You can sit down here and wait for the inspiration to come. Or you can sit down at a desk or in front of the piano and work it. I'm trying to find different approach to write music. Otherwise, you keep writing the same tune.
Exactly.
You know? So I'm trying always to emphasize one element of the music. Always one element that I focus on. A great melody that I harmonize and I write the right rhythm on it. And then I arrange it. Or I start with chords. Harmony, and I write a melody afterwards. Or I start with a riff, a bass riff, which is based on rhythm, and then I arrange it afterwards. So I end up writing different tunes from time to time. Sometimes, believe it or not, I sit here and I write a tune in my head. And that works. That works. For example, a tune called Après la pluie. One of my records, I wrote it sitting down like this. And I figured it out, and I went on the piano and I wrote it in 15 minutes.
That's always beautiful when that happens.
Yes, sir.
How much does jamming play in your writing and creative process? Because that's another thing some people do. I've never been a kind of guy that practices or knows as much theory as you, and the way I put stuff together is purely through first take jams. Do you ever do those kind of things? Or?
Of course we do. You know, I come from the jazz world, so we improvise a lot. It's not necessarily jamming because we always have structure. Sometimes we do. We just start a riff and then we play. Jamming
in a structure form, though. People like you guys who have so much experience already understand that being free flow, like you say, it comes from a jazz world, you know?
Yeah, I play something and a drummer would say, well, that's a cool rhythm. And then I register that and I say, okay, I'll use that at some point. It's like I take that element and I put it in my computer and I push enter and save. So it's in my language. But use pieces of a jam that we would record, for example. I've never done that. When I started playing with drummers from Cuba or from Africa or from different influences and different backgrounds, I talked to them. I said, how do you see this rhythm? For example, I played a lot with Horacio El Negro and Hernandez. Amazing drummer, he knows. So he plays the drum like nobody, no one, because he's got all these Cuban rhythms influence and he's playing it on a jazz kit. And then he taught me a lot. That some elements that I use in my music now.
Amazing. Yeah. Let's talk about one of your loves of music, which is jazz. What is your opinion on A, where jazz is at today, and B, your favorite kind of jazz?
Wow, hard question to answer. My passion for jazz is very wide. For a second, listen to Bill Evans' trio. I like the young guys like Snarky Puppy or Kurt Rosenwinkel, a guitar player. Mike Stern, John Scofield, Joshua Redman. I like when it's inspiring, when the rhythm is there, when it's rich harmonically, when it's strong rhythmically, and when it talks to me. You know, that's what I like about jazz. I like hearing people being on the edge. Like when you improvise, you're on the edge. There, you're not good. There, you go too far. It's like you got to be there and then skate on this and then be connected with the other people. A lot of people tell me that jazz is way too intellectual to them. I can understand that. I would say a lot of people tells me that Euseb brought people to jazz. We had a rock sound with a jazz language.
That's very true.
And a lot of jazz purists told me that Euseb opened up their mind and said, well, you played the right notes, but with different sound and different attitude. Your music is a lot more orchestrated. We have a lot of arrangements in Euseb, but at some point we go for it and it's really jazz. My approach is very fusion. The word fusion was right on because we have my music and the way I approach music, it's a different influence of the world. The center of it is jazz. We take a piece of an arrangement, harmony and rhythm, and then we improvise on it. This is very jazz. But these influences could be from South America, could be from Eastern Europe, could be from United States, could be even from French music, you know, or Italian opera songs. Any kind of music, but I bring it to jazz. This is what I like about the new jazz, which is still fusion to me, but the word fusion is dated. When you say I'll play fusion music, you hear the music of the 70s, 80s, like at the beginning of Miles Davis, and then it's not that anymore. It's fusion of today's fusion, which has a lot more influences with YouTube and then the web. You have access to the music of the world in a second.
You know, I was watching some videos of you over the last couple of days and whatnot, and all these amazing jazz jams and stuff you're doing with Yuzeb and with yourself. And there's always these moments where I watch you guys start up and you go, you build, and then you hit this freaking zone, right? Where your eyes are like completely closed. And if I was sitting in the audience, I would start to laugh. Getting to that zone, how much does that play, again, in your musicality beyond technique? Because I believe that the zone, when you're right in there, it plays by itself and it takes you to other places beyond your technique. How much does that play for you?
This is the goal. This is actually the goal. Tell a story with a beautiful ending. I don't want to play a solo or a tune and then it ends up like that was good. It's not the point. The point is you need a reaction, and it could be anything. Makes you cry, makes you laugh, makes you dance. A solo of any instrument in jazz or in other kinds of music as well, it's like telling a story with an ending that means something. Like a hit, like boom, very energetic, or something that is very romantic or very physical, or something that will create a reaction to the audience. When we are in that zone, this is the ultimate moment. This is the moment you say, shit, I could die there.
I totally know what you mean, man. And I tell you, I've watched you do it so many times where you just go boom, 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 stack, 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 and all of a sudden, it's like you feel like you want to just cliff dive,
That's it, exactly. So that moment, we want to go back in there. It's like a dope.
Yeah.
You want to go back in there and stay there forever.